Well, I'm sitting outside. I guess you get to see the hallway into the house. It's my air conditioner is still broke, so the guy that was supposed to fix it, he came to look at it, but it was so old. It's a Carrier, but it's very old, and you couldn't find the number on this little part that controls. Like electricity was going into it, but it wasn't feeding any out. So I guess like the boards, master boards or whatever they are, kaput. And they're like it's like 20. They're like it's like more than 20 years old. I'm like yeah. It's Reggie's like it's like 20 years old. I'm like more than probably. So wait till Tuesday. After the everything is hot. Had a sinus infection going on here. So I forgot when I went to the doctor. I'm allergic to cats. I don't know, think I've been around cats, but fleas, bites. So anyway, like one of the things like I always think about in our modern day society is our female and male relationship, and I think that the family structure has deteriorated, and I think it deteriorated in numerous ways where it is so harmful to our survival. Um, and I mean, I think there could be all type of families, and there should be. There with same couples or mixed couples or mixed race or you know same couple mixed race, whatever. I think that's good. And but what I'm alluding to is that we have a society today that I've heard a lot on certain shows um, that I think Charlamagne the God and Brilliant Idiots a few once or twice a few months back or a year back or whatever hit on a rape society, and there was another show, Race Wars, where the small I forget his first name right now, but he also hit on a rape culture where like this morning this one guy I had on teenage girl gym shorts. You know what I'm saying? They're real short. The powder, well, the blue and everything, but they're typical teenager gym shorts or gym shorts. He's like, ooh, I'm 56 years old, please. You know what I'm saying? To me, but the whole thing is when like I called him a pervert, and like instead of like maybe taking it like okay you got jokes or blowing it off, the people in the South are very sensitive because it is a rape society. There is a problem when you have every time you turn around, the preachers or somebody, males are having sex with boys. And the same thing is, it's like the guys think, oh, well, you got me excited, my dick's hard, so therefore, you want me, and so like they go from like, oh, I want you to, oh, you bitch. I was bad. I was like, you probably fuck your mother, and he didn't say he didn't. He just called me a crackhead. And then the lady next door, she got to get in the middle of it. You know what I'm saying? And say, oh, she drinks beer. I was like, oh, okay, so, because like she goes, I didn't see anything that he said wrong. I'm like, of course you don't, because like some of these holy worldly churches you go to, the woman falls out and they feel all over their vagina, feel all over their breasts. You know, they raise their men like, oh, I want to be pimps and I want to be gangsters. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't mean like, oh, I gotta make my daughter real smart so she'll know a player. You know what I'm saying? When um, you know, we have a culture where it's we have dual partners. The side chick or you know uh, any excuse for reproduction, but the family has been fractured, and there's probably numerous reasons. Um, and they all vow, and they all add to it and tribute to it. And like when I was like, I mentioned to the girl, I'm like, it all has to do with a Jim Crow type of propaganda mentality. And she's like, who's Jim Crow? She grew up in the South. They went to public school. You're gonna tell me like they don't know their own history of the South? That they don't know. It's like if you don't know the type of the reason why your behavior is, you know what I'm saying? It's like there's no in between. You know this guy. You know what I'm saying? Like now, it doesn't matter if he does like me because I see his reaction. The reaction. I don't want to have somebody. Oh, let me have sex with you right now. Oh, now I'm mad at you. So like somebody flips the switch. So now I want to beat on you because that's all they knew growing up. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like they have no respect for women. And why would you? If your mom beat you from before you could walk and talk, you know what I'm saying? But a lot of it you could attribute to the Jim Crow type of mentality. You could attribute to the beginning of welfare, where basically if the woman wanted to have food stamps, she can't have the man there. And was like by other Christian people in their community. Oh, look at her, she got 5 kids and on welfare. It was looked down at. Children were looked down at. Women being pregnant was looked down at. You know, because they limited the choices. At the same time, women that got married, the men felt sometimes like, oh, this is you're now my property. So which also fractures, and even if it's on unconscious level, um, it venges on thinking, sort of like that famous book Fifty Shades of Grey, where that's so acceptable and people got all excited, where like pleasure is now pain, or you have a woman has to live a living hell for the men, because he wants to be pleasured, because it gives him pleasure, you know, and then the other thing is it's like a lot of these kids, the parents are working and they don't care, they're doing drugs or whatever. The kids get sexually abused at a young age too, which also makes them think that the only acceptable behavior between a group of grown-ups, a group of people when they gather, is sexual acts, and that it's acceptable. And you can see that, and then being coerced and spending all their money in a titty bar, sitting So for men to, uh, it's and you know and you see a lot of different degrees of it. So where men their sexual gratification, you see it in rape, you see it in homicide, like where they kill, where they rape young children, pedophiles, and then they escalate to killing. Usually, if they did any time in jail for rape or pedophiling or any other type of sexual acts, they they usually think they got smart and escalate to to murder because it's not, his attitude, has nothing to do with what's going to pleasure me. You know what I'm saying? Because if he's got, what I'm saying, I'm not attracted to him. Did he ask? Does he care? You know what I'm saying? No. And there's this girl that was up here that died a few years back, Annie Mae. She had been a prostitute, and she had about like 16 kids, sexually abused from a young age, whooped. As when she got older, her sort of, prostitution, they knocked all her teeth out because, like, she was already, being prostituted out as, young, not bad looking, very dark skinned, known by the police and everything. And she came by here one evening, well, it was early day, and she wasn't breathing right, and she wanted a cigarette, and I could tell she was having problems breathing. I gave her a cigarette. She went up to Ford Road and to this one house over there, and she started dancing nude, so she could get hits of crack. So in the midst of her getting hits of crack, and with her respiratory problem, she falls out. You know, she falls out, and so they start having sex with her, the men that were there. In her vagina, in her mouth. She's unconscious in her butt. She's dead, right? I mean, like the six, just every orifices. They're having a great time. This is You know what I'm saying? This is, this is a nightmare. Like to me, to think that she had to die in such a way that she didn't even have to die. If somebody would have been like, oh look, she's coughing up that mucus, she's not breathing. They could have, she could have been saved. But instead, she died. And you hear some guys like, oh, that's if I would like to go out, having sex. Yeah, if you don't fall out unconscious and you're aware and you're conscious and that's your choice, yeah, then I guess, I mean, why? I mean, nobody wants to have. Well, I guess there are people, but anyway, so her whole life and her whole understanding is that that's all females meant to do, you know, and there wasn't any place that she couldn't go, not from church to the city hall to the police that wasn't happy to go ahead and have sex with her. You know what I'm saying? And instead of seeing that uh, that the problem or the issue, yeah, but anyway, and these guys don't care what they catch. So that's another thing. They don't care. And if there's something happened, it's not their fault. It's the woman's fault. So they're totally void of any responsibilities. They're not going to be the ones having the babies. If they get the STD, it's the woman's fault. Because she's nasty hoe. Just because he's just going and having sex with titty bars and 4 or 5 other women, besides you, you know, maybe a few men in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and then like a lot of them with this narcissistic type of behavior that is brought on mainly because of their upbringing. People that are getting hit, it hurts, it causes them pain, and hurt people like to hurt people. If they get an EST or something like that, sometimes they intentionally want to affect somebody else or blame somebody else, but not take responsibilities for their own actions. Which causes numerous epidemics and like herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea, HIV, because they don't take responsibility and go to the doctor regularly. And you know, and it's even prevalent in politics. From Clinton, you know, the lady that what's her name, Lipsy, whatever, that Melanie Lips, I can't think of her name right now, I'm all clogged up, but that was having oral sex with on Bill Clinton, which she probably asked her, and he's president, so she, everybody like blamed her or whatever. Nobody wanted to say maybe the behavior that Bill Clinton was having. You look at it, especially after the double bypass heart things, is that maybe he was just a cocaine that wanted to get his dick sucked, like a lot of people that was doing it during that time period, that decade. You know what I'm saying? And but what I'm saying, and in a way, it causes our society to be less functional, because you can see that type of behavior in the Middle East, where the women have to do. What I'm saying? They don't have a society to where um, there's a lot of logic when it comes to behavior. They went to another extreme. So the men, and in India, where like the men they see the women, they get excited, so they have the rape gangs. They don't understand how they harm the society, and how the same men that might get excited seeing women might be excited over other men. You know, we have that. In prisons, not unheard of when men raping men. So it's just a harmful, self-destructive society. And then you even have it with the Trump president, this um, celebrity president, Trump guy, whatever. Um, that he was in Moscow. He had prostitutes, peeing on him. So now because of his and they use this sexual deviant because if you really see like some men like forcing these women and laying around with it, they prostitutes and the women are looking all cute and all over the place. They just, it's not, like usually the man gets ashamed. It's not something they're proud of. Is um, Russia prostitutes. Putin says they're best in the world. Yeah, the best in the world to contract different type of AIDS, and other sexually transmitted. I don't know if it's different type of AIDS, but the transfer of all the STDs that are known to be transferred by prostitutes. And that's just simple fact. And men don't want to deal with the simple fact is that their behavior, you know, could cause also harm to the rest of the family, where your children are not seeing as much as the father. They're not getting as much education input from their father. And when I say education, maybe the father has like a hobby of fishing, or he has a hobby of painting, or he has a hobby of woodwork, which most men don't have hobbies today. It'll be sports and X-rated movies. But if they have those other hobbies, these kids are not benefiting by family interaction. You know, to, we don't work out in the fields together. We don't raise barns anymore, or we don't sit around and um, play board games even, or sit around and sew, crochet as the women, and cook together as a family. Now it's like, oh, it's the woman's job, when a lot of times in a big family, if everybody wanted to eat, you had to chip in. There was chopping, there was prep work to do, there was washing, and stuff like that. There was jobs there for everybody to bring the food to the table quicker, so that to eat quicker. And now our eating quicker is to go to fast food or microwave, or open up a frozen bag of some pasta and vegetables with a little chicken, and and dump it in the skillet. So so our cooking has changed. So has our family values, in a sense that we're men seeing women more objectively, like Trump said. Oh well, when you're famous and you're a celebrity, you could grab the women by the pussy, and that is the mentality that we have today. You know, and I think it is a good way to keep, like a lot of hostilities in the community down in a lot of ways, causing because there's a lot of single mothers, and then they need to be able to work without being in a sexually hostile environment. And I think that there's a lot of changes that we need to do in our society, and the basic and the bottom line is to fix our school system and fix the foods that we give to our children, and to nurture them in such a way that they don't have to go through the trauma of thinking that our society is such a cruel, evil, over sex and over hostile uh, uh, place based on race, greed, and ignorance.